can you all make a video on how to price quotes for deep clean and smaller bids, cleaning like bi-weekly and monthly? All right. So,
So that's a good question. We have what we call minimum bid.
yep.
Like, we don't even go to talk to you. If you want 1 day, 2 days a week, it's X amount, period. Because that's how much it costs us to go out there, period. That's where we start at. Putting fuel in the vans, bringing people out there, buying the equipment, it's X amount.
Right.
So, and then you're asking about the deep cleaner, smaller bids. So deep cleaning would be exactly like Patricia, her question was, how long is it going to take you? That's strictly hours. That's I'm going in here, it's 8 hours. I charge $25 an hour times 8. I'm going to bring 3 people. Okay, times 3.
Yep.
It goes back to your equation. But when you're dealing with your bi-weekly or monthly, we would still fall in a minimum bid would be X amount.
Well,
And that's for you to decide. I don't know where they live.
let me just make sure that I mentioned minimum bids are a barrier for folks to do work with OctoClean.
Yes,
right.
period.
So it's a filter. So if you're a smaller company and you're dependent on a certain dollar amount a month to be able to pay your rent and take care of the kids and do all that kind of stuff, we use minimum bids because we don't want to have to deal with the craziness that comes along with smaller accounts when they say, come in twice a month and clean this building, because that's just a trap. Because what happens is you go in there once, you do a deep clean, get it all up to speed, and they're like, wow, I want this twice a month, without even asking the question, who's cleaning this building when I'm not here?
Yeah.
Well, no one is. So what is it going to look like when I come back in 2 weeks?
It's going to be demolished every single time.
It's going to be the same job you just did every single time.
And I mean, their minimum may be less, than ours.
Yeah.
You may have a minimum bid that's $150.
Right.
Right. $200 a month. Where ours, it's not that.
And what I would encourage you to do, Lorenzo, is I would encourage you to tell the customer prospect, to do more service, right? And explain why. Because
It's not going to be that much more.
It's not going to be a lot more. If we come in once a week, Mr. Prospect, you're going to get better overall service. It's going to be cleaner longer. Your employees are going to be happier. And the cost is going to be similar to what it would be if we came in twice a month or once a month, because we're having to do a full, thorough, detailed cleaning from top to bottom when we're in here twice.
Or companies still don't do it. They just crash and dash.
Or worse. What I could see is I did a deep cleaning. I charged them $450, and then they say, "Oh, well, what if you did it twice a month?" Now I feel like, well, this is recurring income,
so I do for $350.
So I'm going to charge less. Now I'm going to charge less. When you didn't even think about, when you go back in 2 weeks, it's going to be the same dump that it was when you left. You started. So people make terrible.
Because we actually were doing this. Kind of share with you.
Yeah.
We were doing this when we grew up.
Yeah.
We would take anything and everything for whatever price it was, and then once we really started to analyze, were we making money and were we losing money? We just raised the prices.
Yeah.
We're like, you know what? We can't do it for this. We're actually paying you to clean your building.
Right.
I'm paying you, even if it's I don't have any employees, it's just me. You're still paying yourself.
Yeah.
So when it gets to the point where, you're making, sometimes we did the math, we're making like $4 an hour.
Yeah.
They got to go.
Well, and by taking on the philosophy that it's only me. It's only me, so it doesn't matter if it's bid right. What you're doing is you're making a better mousetrap, right? All you're doing is creating a stronger, more impossible mousetrap to get out of that you have created, you've made for yourself.
And the industry, not just yourself.
And the industry.
People you don't even know.
Yeah, because you're messing it up for everybody else who's trying to do it the right way. So it's about, like, you need to bid every job thinking that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Right? If you bid every job thinking I'm not the one who's going to be cleaning the building, then you're going to bid it well. You're going to bid it correctly. But if you go in and with that philosophy, like, it doesn't really matter, whatever, then you're going to end up trapping yourself in an impossible, trap. Like, you'll never get out of it. And
you're not going to be able to afford insurance. It's going to be a mess.
It's going to be a mess. But so I would
be cleaning out of the back of a Cadillac.
Lorenzo, I think we both would say that we'll get into personal.
Yeah, just got that one.
We'll get into personal stories another day. Lorenzo, I would say that the best thing for you to do is to encourage them to do jobs like this, smaller, deep clean jobs, at least one time a week.
Yeah.
At least one time a week. And internally, we don't do anything that's under 3 days a week unless they do an initial clean. So
that's just like, Patricia said, like, I go in, it's going to take me 8 hours to clean this place up, and then we'll do an initial clean the next week.
Yep.
So you're good.
All right, our last question for this one. Michael Slater 3210 asks, should you consider tax income in your bidding calculation?
Tax income.
I'm going to
Explain that for me.
Well,
The tax income kind of confuses me.
I'm going to try.
Because the tax, maybe they pay him the taxes.
I don't think so. I think what they're saying, should they consider a tax liability, like what their taxes would be, what they have to pay in employee or employer's taxes.
Well, yeah, that's part of your operating cost, right?
So what I would say to anyone is this. I mean, if I come up with a number, right? Let's say that I decide that how much I want to pay someone hourly is a range of minimum wage to $23 an hour, right? So $23 an hour would be my lead on a crew, right? Now,
and he's talking about payroll. He's not talking about.
I'm not talking about anything
what we
else.
call load or like everything else.
So $23 an hour is the top of my mark. Now I've got to add at least 33% on top of that dollar amount, right? So that I can get to a point, and I would say 33 to 50%. What that 33% is going to be, and so 50% is your load, right? So that's going to be your tax burden.
Payroll,
it's going to be your work comp. It's going to be
chemical,
overhead cost,
everything,
right?
Fuel.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that includes payroll or profit. So you need to consider, well, what's our profit going to be, et cetera. And then you're going to end up.
We should sell franchises.
You should.
We should sell franchises.
We should help people. Anyway,
okay.
You're a funny dude, man. We got to get you to be funnier in life. Yeah, good. So, ultimately what you're looking to do here is take everything into consideration, and not just how much am I going to pay myself?
Yeah.
And I'm never going to hire somebody. That's a total lie. You're going to hire somebody.
I mean, we don't want you to not hire someone because then you can't go on vacation.
Yeah.
Like, it's like going in a paper route.
Well,
there's no such thing anymore, huh?
They still throw papers. I think they do. I've seen somebody throw papers before. They're free papers, but they are papers. Anyway, so yes, Michael, I would say definitely consider your tax liability.
I think everything, not just that, everything.
Yeah, all other liabilities.
I mean, if you're looking at tax, what you could write off on a serious note, I mean, you're looking at portions of your home, whether you rent or own.
Yep.
You're looking at your vehicles. You're looking at everything.
And all of that should be in whatever that overhead expense percentage is.
And taken out of your business bank account.
And thank you. And it may surprise you to hear this, but the smaller you are, the higher that load will likely be.
Yep.
Right? Because you're going to pay more in liability insurance costs because you don't have a record. You're going to have more percentage expense of total gross profits.
Because you may be driving all over the town.
In vehicles and fuel and all of these other things. As you build, then you have economies of scale, right? So now you're not having all these issues of like, well, now my percentage is going down because I'm in the area.
Yeah, and you got to buy a bunch of equipment when you're new.
Right.
So you try not to, and then you lose account.
Yes. So, I would say, Michael, again, this is a journey that we're on in a business. Okay. It's not a destination. You don't get to watch 5 YouTube videos and 10 podcasts, and listen, while you're working, et cetera, and solve the world's, problems. Okay. And definitely not in your business. So, again, it is our hope that you take some information from this. And most importantly, for both of us, is that you guys take the first step and you're courageous and go out and do something and make mistakes. Because if you're not going to do that, I don't care who you listen to and what you do. Everything is just conceptual. It's a waste of your time to be listening to this podcast if you choose not to do something with it, right?